What's up, YouTube? Got some data from my friend Mitchell at VIR North from, I think, Friday with pre. He ran a 39.6 on his CBR600, which is pretty good. But he wants to know where there's some more time. So I have a 28.969 from Nolan Lampkin on a R6 in Moto America. So I'm going to compare him to that and see where we can find some easy time for him for the next time he goes. And this works out because I'm going there next weekend, and any bit of information I can find out before Ezra, the better. So overall, pretty good. He clearly knows what he's doing as far as getting in and out of turns. All of his slow points look like nice V's. There's not a ton of neutral throttle, which I like. So all we really need to do is just shift his slow points and get him to full throttle sooner, which is where he's losing the most time. It's all in exits. I'm not really going to focus on entries at all. At least not that much anyway. So going into turn one, he's okay. His slow point is slightly too early. His slow point is here, about mid of the yellow curbing. He could manage to bring its speed a little bit deeper to the end of the curbing, let the bike turn more on the right side of the tire, and then once it does turn, treat this whole section like a straightaway from here all the way to here, where you brake going into 2 and 3. So as he's exiting turn 1, he's building speed, which is good. Not quite as much as Nolan, but that's fine. That'll come eventually. But as he's exiting, he lets the bike drift out to the left between whatever this is, I think the gray curbing site right here. It drifts over to 2 and gets too close to it, which cuts him off for 3. So Mitchell, focus on keeping the bike on the right side of the tire as you accelerate, and then getting back to maybe mid-track or 3/4 to the right before you tip into 2, because right now you're tipping into 2 too early and you're making this radius tighter than it needs to be. I can see because you're rolling off the throttle here when you could potentially keep the throttle on the throttle stop for longer, which will give you some easy time in this straight section, or while the bike's straight up and down, which is the best time to gain time because there's almost no risk. And then for here, just pick a brake marker. I think for me I use right about here, and then think of using this section from the left curb to the outside of this turn 3 curb to scrub speed, and then letting that speed carry all the way to 3. So focus on that, and focus on bringing a little bit more speed into turn 1, or scrubbing speed into turn 1. And then as you come out of 3, look pretty good. The only thing I noticed here is just your slow point going into 4 is too early, and you also tip in too late. So tip in a little bit early, make this radius wider, and then get the bike on the right side of the tire sooner, coming through 4A and 4B. That'll set you up better for 4A, 4B, 5A, and 5B, which is the second biggest chunk of time that you're losing. First biggest chunk of time you're losing is the hog pin through turn 1, it's about 3.3 seconds. And then the next is from 5A to 7. So coming through 4A, get the bike on the right side of the tire and build up speed from here to here to here, and then focus on getting as good of an exit as you can coming out of 4A. Right now it looks like you're picking up wide open throttle around here as you flip back to the left side of the tire, but ideally if you can get your bike or your throttle to the throttle stop between 5A and 5B, that'll get you a lot more time, because that's why there's a delay in acceleration. Nolan's the red line, you are the blue line. And I'll show you, I can actually see Nolan has full data on his bike, so I can show you his throttle hand. And while I have it open, I'll go all the way through and show you what's killing you the most, which is not getting the full throttle soon enough. So coming out of 5A, I hate when it does that, hold on, there we go. Nolan has his bike on the throttle stop pretty much from this mid curbing, like middle of this curbing. No, not middle, slightly after. Yeah, slightly after, towards the end of this curbing, all the way from here to just before the bridge. And if I had to guess, or actually I saw your video so I can hear what your throttle's doing, you don't get to full throttle till here. That's why his GPS line is so much quicker than yours, and it goes up sooner, which is where the most time is to be had. See the gap between the red line, which is him, and the blue line, which is you? It's easy time. And then I'm not going to tell you what to do for here, but I would say if you want to, you can jump this curb, this gray curb, and make this even straighter. Because it seems like you're accelerating past 5A, then you're getting the bike on the left side of the tire for 5B, and then you're hitting full throttle when you should be hitting it back here. Then not going to focus too much on 7. Your slow point is early, like I said before. So maybe think about carrying some speed all the way up this hill and then getting the bike pointed this way more as opposed to this way before you pick up throttle. And then Nolan's getting to full throttle here, which is getting him a way better exit coming out of 7. So while he's full throttle, you're still picking up the throttle from here to here, and that's easy time because he's picked the bike up and it's straight up and down while you're still turning because you picked up the throttle too early. And then coming through here, this will get you some time, not as much as the previous sections, but definitely some, and you'll get more comfortable with this as you get more comfortable with VIR. Looks like Nolan is staying to the right as he comes through this turn. I think it's 8B, and this is 9A. So stay to the right more, and then roll off, use the brakes if you need to, and then get a little bit of a throttle blip between 9A and 9B, just to push you through. And then as you, let me back up a little bit so it's easier to see, come through here, focus on getting the setup for, I think this is 9C, into 10. That's, as you can see, it's just a straightaway. So make it as straight as possible and then tip in earlier with the brakes going into the waterfall, or the carousel, whatever we call it. That's some free time. So between there and there, anywhere you see area between the lines, that's a big chunk of time. So go through there. Then from here to here, get the bike on the left side of the tire as quick as you can, coming down the waterfall, and then think of this as another little straightaway. And then coming into 12A, this is where you, me, and everybody I look at loses the most time. If you look at your speed graph, you start to accelerate just like Nolan coming out of 11. Yeah, 11. And then going into 12. You both roll off at the same time, but Nolan and most of the faster guys that I watch YouTube videos and have their data, they use this whole section from here to here. This is actually should be your slow point, from all the way back there to here, right about here. Yeah, this is your slow point, or should be your slow point. So you use that whole section to scrub speed. How you do that is up to you. What I'm going to attempt to do when I get there Friday of this week is a little bit of brake pressure here, let go of it, get the bike on the side of the tire for this apex, then as I'm flipping back to the right, I'm going to switch. I'm going to give it a little bit more brake pressure while the bike is up and down, so around here, and then get the bike on the side of the tire as quickly as possible and let it continue to scrub speed all the way out to here. And then by the time you get here, your bike should be pointed this way as opposed to off the track. As soon as it's pointed this way, you can start feeding it throttle and getting into the straightaway even faster. Because right now, you're picking up throttle right here and just sitting there and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and this looks to be about where you're getting to full throttle. Meanwhile, no one's gotten to it back here, or at least he's starting to build to it. So yeah, then just hold it all the way around. I think you might roll off a little bit for the kink 2, and I think it's because you are tipping in too late. So you clean that up and you'll get around the track a lot faster. Hope this helps. I'm going to send you an Excel sheet with all this broken down and times and stuff, and probably some YouTube videos. Knock my headset off. But if you want me to do this for you, shoot me an email. My email is weighttransferperformance@gmail.com. Thank you.